How much can you raise rent in California? With inflation on the rise and costs increasing ever still, landlords worry that those raising costs will outpace rental income profit. Now more than ever, it's important to know how much you can increase rent each year to meet these growing costs. So let's not waste any time. How much can you raise rent in California? Raising rent in California. In California, according to AB 1482, you can raise rent by 5% plus the percentage change CPI every 12 months. Landlords are allowed to raise rent by a maximum of 10% every 12 months. That means if the CPI change is above 5%, the maximum increase cap is 10%. It's vital to understand, however, that the actual amount you can raise rent depends largely on your local city laws. Your local laws can vary about as much as differing states can, as they have the ability to overlay their own laws on top of the state policies. For example, take a look at the difference between LA and Inglewood, which sits right next to it. Let's dive into the rent control law that governs much of California, AB 1482. Particularly, let's see who it applies to and who is exempt to better understand how much you're allowed to raise rent on your specific property. What is AB 1482? AB 1482, or the Tenant Protection Act of 2019, states that California municipalities may not increase rent by more than 5% plus the percentage increase in CPI during any 12-month period, at a maximum of 10%. Until recently, the CPI increase in many areas of California was 3 to 4.5%. However, also stated within the policy was that after August 1st of 2022, due to inflation, the maximum allowable CPI increase would be set to 5%. That means many areas just went anywhere from 7 to 9.5% on average to the full 10% increase. Who does AB 1482 apply to? AB 1482 applies to apartment complexes which were built before 2007, as well as those not subject to local municipal rent control laws. AB 1482 exemptions. AB 1482 also has a number of exemptions. That includes commercial properties, duplexes where the owner lives in one of the two units, single-family units not owned by a group such as an LLC, REIT, or corporation of any kind, hotels, schools, and mobile homes. Most notably exempt are buildings built within the past 15 years, rental properties provided by nonprofits, or also subject to local ordinances are also exempt. Tenant protections. So far, I've talked about standard longer-term legislation. However, there's also another layer you need to take into consideration to make sure you're being compliant with state and local laws. That's tenant eviction protections and emergency bans. While most cities and counties' COVID-era protections have expired, some are still in place. So it's important to make sure you're following any rent protection-related policy currently in place and to know when it will expire. Fortunately, finding that information is pretty easy. For a great guide detailing up-to-date information on emergency ordinances and tenant protection still in place for every California municipality, see COVID-19 California eviction moratoriums, bans, and tenant protections. Rent control laws. If after watching what you've seen, you're having trouble finding your municipality's specific rent control laws, don't worry. In fact, it's generally safer to use this route as you'll be verifying the information with local authorities to ensure you have the most accurate and up-to-date information. Here's how to find your city or country's current rent control laws. Number 1, find out what existing rent control legislation your state has in place from your official municipal website. You can find this by searching, does my city, county have rent control laws? Preferably, you find what your city's official.org website is and add that to the end of the search query to get results from the website. Or better yet, use site URL, does my city, county have rent control laws? By using site, then the URL, you'll only get listings from that website, making the process of searching for your state's official page on the topic faster. You can use the search function of your state's official site, but it likely won't be faster. Most websites' search bars don't work as well as Google and bring up unrelated results, so it's generally faster to do it this way. Number 2, get your city or county contact information and reach out to find out about any protections or freezes in place. Reach out personally and ask if there are any price protections or rent freezes in place. Number 3, find the CPI of your area. Knowing the CPI of your area is crucial because it's a part of the rent increase calculation for most areas. Fortunately, you don't have to calculate this yourself. To find the CPI of your area, head to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and select California, then your county. Next, you should find a document at the top of the page labeled Consumer Price Index. Once you have your CPI, you can plug it into your location's calculation to find how much you can increase rent. Additional resources. The more you know about your local, state, and municipal rent laws and protections, the best equipped you'll be to maximize your rent income through regular rent increases. It can be a bit complex, having to look into state laws, municipal laws, and emergency tenant protections. But once you have that information in hand, you're good to go. These types of laws change, so make sure to follow the DoorLoop blog to get the most up-to-date information on rent control laws and regulations to make the most of your entire portfolio. And while you're at it, check out some of our other comprehensive guides and resources for landlords and property managers. Click the link in the description. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more property management content. Also, don't forget to check out these videos. Thank you and have a nice day.